All right. Here we are live. Moyak Fishing Series podcast. Trey, what's up, buddy, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I was just thinking, this is the first post tournament podcast I've ever been on. Not because I'm far from a winner, but it just feels kind of good being on a post tournament podcast. But man, I'm good. We got quite the show tonight. This is pretty cool. So
We do. I'm excited to have Eco Fishing Shop and Crock-O-Gator coming on tonight. They sponsor the Taney 20. They both put up $500 and allow us to fish with little to no entry fee. Of course, Tourney X and all that has some fees and whatnot, but they put up that money, and excited to bring them on. So first off, let's introduce Travis with Eco Fishing Shop. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. Glad to see you guys.
And then from Crock-O-Gator, and you own H2 Baits as well. But Jason, thanks for being on here with us, man.
You're welcome.
It's really cool what Josh has set up with the Taney 20, and I don't know if you guys are familiar. I'm sure you guys are with the top 20 from the Moyak AOY standings get to fish the Taney 20. We don't get to fish Taney Como a lot, just because it's a smaller river lake. With limited ramp access, so we just limit that for the top 20. But really excited and glad that you guys have jumped on and been a part of it for the last few years. It's really cool. Jason, I'm going to start with you, man. I'm going to talk Crock-O-Gator, talk H2. Tell us about yourself, man, and tell us about what you guys got going on over there, man.
So, man, back about 8 or 9 years ago, I'd say it was, I designed my first bait. I'm from a machining and engineering background. I designed my first bait, and I named it the Freak. And there's several people out there that throw it. It's a big 10-inch worm. But I kind of got into pouring my own plastics and doing a little bit of that. But I just really didn't want to buy molds and do it that way. I wanted to design and cut molds myself. And so that kind of started it all. Got into doing a little more of that. Got into doing in a company called Husky Outdoors, and that's where it all started. And then that kind of changed into H2 when I got in deeper into the bait design, and was approached by Crock-O-Gator. I guess it's been 2.5 years ago or so about the X-Toad. That was the first product I worked on with them. And then, as most of you know, in November, me and my brother purchased Crock-O-Gator, and we're so excited to have Crock-O-Gator, so excited to meet all the people I've had the chance to meet. Me and Trey's talked some, Chad Davison, just all the kayak guys and all the people that I became friends with. It's been a fun ride so far. I'm looking forward to the future and working with everybody. My full-time job obviously is running another business, but we have that business and H2 and Crock-O-Gator all in Bonne Terre, Missouri, and we do the design, we build the molds, we pour the plastics, we build the buzz baits, the jigs, everything in that shop right there. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too.
and I mean, you gotta say you have an amazing just fishing team too. Wanted to highlight, we have a couple people from the club, Lance Burrish, Chad Davison, who's going to the kayak national championship. Both of them fish for Crock-O-Gator. Just a ton of other guys. We got a couple other guys with H2. Blessed to be with H2, but just what appealed to me was and I talked about it last week a little bit in the post, was just them little subtle differences that, you're looking at all these different baits. Everybody has a beaver bait, right? But, very rarely, many people have, the F-bomb. And it's just some little bitty subtle changes. And another one for guys that just don't know about H2 or Crock-O-Gator is the zip worm, which am I wrong or right? Chad Davison kind of helped in the design of this. Yep. And, this is a bait that will probably show up in Texas that, they haven't seen. And a lot of the stuff that you're creating are baits that they haven't seen. So, and everybody knows, the famous buzz bait. This is the head knocker, and a lot of people sleep on the 1/4 ounce I'm really excited to throw this little 1/4 ounce. But yeah, the best. I was just reading a post the other day where it was, the top 5 buzz baits. Top 5 buzz baits. I think Wired to Fish or somebody put it out, and Crock-O-Gator was right there up top, number 1. And that's really cool to see a local company be able to do that, and somebody that's so kind of intimate and just in that relationship circle with us here. So that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, the original owner of Crock-O-Gator, Don Carroll, that all started right here, right where I live. And I threw the head knocker on Lake Wapapello back in the 90s when it first came out. It came out in the 80s, but I threw it as a teenager on Wapapello fishing tournaments in the 90s. I still have some original Crock-O-Gator buzzbaits in the original packages that say Don Caro Enterprises on them. So yeah, to get the chance to own a company that has just truly been a staple in the Ozarks for so long, 40 years, it's been a blessing. I wake up sometimes and pinch myself with the way my life is right now with my wife, my kids, and my successes that I've had and the people I've gotten to know, such as everybody that you mentioned and the Crock-O-Gator pro staff that when we purchased Crock-O-Gator, then you got the kayak side, and you had the other side with Adam Boley and Michael Harlan and these guys and Justin Lukemeyer, these guys that are just good guys and great anglers. And be a fisherman myself and still fish tournaments when I have the opportunity. It's great to see, like what you're saying, the subtle deals. And I think that goes back to my machining background, just the attention to detail, because we're holding 10,000 of an inch tolerance. So it does play in those little fine details in designing a bait, as what you just mentioned.
Just over here looking at your website, looks like you guys do some worms, some straight tail worms, and then creature baits. What as far as that zip worm, where was that initial thought process? Like, what were you trying to capture, when you created that bait?
So as a lot of people know, that bait was produced years ago, and then it was discontinued. And so, and Chad and others had still had some, and we're still throwing it off and on. So we wanted to bring it back. It was just a great bait. And a lot of times these baits, as companies grow, they kind of phase out, right? Maybe not the biggest sellers, so they're kind of phased out. We just wanted to bring that back, but make some key changes to it, change the ribs a little bit. If you really look, I don't know if Trey can show it, but if you look in the right where the hook is, there's actually a small band that's a little bit thicker, and that's right where the hook goes through. That was on there for durability. If you can zoom in, you can kind of see that it's thicker, right? Yeah, right there. You can see that one area there that was thickened. The ribs, the body being the right diameter all the way through there, and the tail is super thin. It actually makes it quite difficult to pour, but the bait just starts moving as soon as it hits the water. I got a good friend of mine that flips it a lot. He cuts the tail off and just flips it without the tail, because with those ribs in there, and when you rig that hook, it just doesn't get hung up. I mean, you can drag it through anything. Taking it to Texas, Florida, swimming it through grass, I can't imagine. It's got to be great for that as well. Up here in the Ozarks, we worry about brush piles mainly. So,
and the other one, Jonathan mentioned worms, and this kind of being, and John can pull it up a little bit better, but I believe that's the little dipper. So you have 3 different dippers. And, we had talked a few weeks ago, and I'm not going to give up all the juice right now, but there's a lot of things with guys that throw a lot of baits that can realize what they can do with that bait right there, as far as trailer options goes for a plethora of different baits, and just being able to get a little bit crazy with it and be like, hey, I'm going to try that on the back of this or that, because they have way more uses than just a Nico or just a Texas rig worm. So,
yeah. So those 3 baits, the smallest one there, is a great finesse jig trailer. The little tip on the end of those worms is absolutely perfect. And the reason it's on there is for dyeing the little tip of those tails. Jared Fosno, everybody, wins a lot at Truman Lake. He knows that 7¼ inch worm like the back of his hand. He's won so much money on it. Just dipping that tip in your chartreuse or orange dye. Yeah, the biggest one there is the one he throws mainly, and it's just and the tail will float. So I've always felt like, so like Crock-O-Gator, obviously everybody knows makes a great shaky head. But if you flip that worm in the water and you watch, that tail will slowly float up into their face. And I think that's a key element for a lot, especially with the finicky fish. You kind of picture them being nose down on it, and it's just floating up there towards them. And I don't know, they just can't seem to resist it. If you go to my creature baits too, the punch hogs, great all around bait. They have some subtle. There's a small hook slot in them. They're ribbed, not heavily ribbed, but they are ribbed. The hook hides down in that hook slot a little bit. You really can't see it in the picture. There you can see it right there. The hook just sits down in there for weedless. I throw that on the back of my jig a lot. It's one of my favorite jig trailers. Between that and the F-bomb, it's pretty much the only two I ever throw on the back of a jig. There's 3 different sizes of that as well. Great flipping bait, whatever you want to do. I always like the rectangular profiles. I feel like when you flip into a bush, it gives it that action to where it kind of glides versus a round body. I think that's one key with a beaver bait as well.
Now, Jason, if somebody wanted to order these, are they go to Crock-O-Gator? They're going to go to H2. Like, where is there a difference there? And how would somebody go in some of these?
Yeah, so all those that you were just looking at are the website's h2baitdesign.com. And then the Crock-O-Gator website is separate from that. Some of those have crossed over as well. Those worms that you were talking about, the straight tail worms, they were on the Crock-O-Gator website, and a couple of them are back on there. And they're the same worm, just on 2 different websites, offer the same colors on either website.
And maybe this is the place to ask you the question or not. If it's maybe getting the carriage in front of the horse a little bit. But do you plan on one day putting them under the same roof? It's
something I've been considering. I've talked to a lot of folks about that. Right now, my main focus is to take care of all my retail stores, all of the guys that are supporting Crock-O-Gator, and developing new products. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the post about the swim bait that we've been working on for a long time. I actually threw that swim bait a lot in Anglers in Action tournaments last year on Table Rock. It's been thrown. It's not something that's – I know we did a video with the F-bomb. I think I've built 8 or 10 different molds for that swim bait to get it right. And I'd love to come on again when it comes out and kind of explain the differences of why I wanted that swim bait the way it was. It doesn't act like the other swim baits out there. It's a different action. But like I said, you've seen Michael Harlan, you've seen Chad Davison, you've seen Justin Lukemeyer and them guys, Adam Boley, all talking about that swim bait because they've been throwing it this winter. So super excited about that. Working on a swim bait head as well for the A-rigs. So that's my main focus right now, is to get some products out there that's been hanging around for a while. Oh, I was wondering what that was. I see your dog now.
That's my crazy dog.
But, yeah.
I thought it was a buzzbait for a second.
That's what I
Head
thought.
nod.
It sounded like one, right?
Dang, Trey's got the audio of the buzzbait on. He's just playing it in the background. Like, this sound familiar, boys?
Yeah. Well, speaking of Michael Harlan, I was reading some stuff on him this morning. He had posted that LOZ or wherever he was, but he was throwing that new prototype on the back of an A rig, and yeah, that thing's juicy, man. That thing's juicy. I know Chad was super secretive about it for a long time, but it's actually starting to come to fruition now, and we're gonna be able to get our hands on it. So it could be a minnow John to shake. John caught a monster this weekend on shake. Who would think to go to Taneycomo when the water temps what it is, cold, and John's out there shaking a minnow. He's the first one on the board with a tank, bro. And he didn't pay into the big bass. He could have won it.
You never don't pay into the big bass, man. And
Sorry,
never
Josh. Sorry, Josh.
Either. You just never know.
I know. And I knew as soon as I got off, I was like, you know what? Better, maybe I don't deserve it. It's all right. It'll be all right. But yeah, I was not gonna lie. I was out there shaking a minnow. I've gotten a lot of confidence in that. I was looking on the website and you guys have that. What is it? The slide chat.
Yeah.
Are you guys? I mean, with the industry the way it is, everybody's coming out with some sort of minnow, some sort of something like that. Do you guys have anything on your guys' radar or looking at doing?
There might be one been tested for a few months now across the country.
Well, if you need some more testers, you just let me know, man. That's
Yeah. He gonna tell you how it works.
Yeah.
I've invested in a lot of spinning rods in the off season, so I would be glad to test any of those.
Live scope gets a bad rap, but I tell you what, if it's done anything else, it showed you that there's really not a lot of rules in fishing, and a lot of the stuff you thought to be true is just not true. And I had some fish reacting to a jerkbait that they wouldn't commit, and I could throw that minnow in there and shake it, and they would choke it. And this is 40-something degree water temperature, so it's definitely a player. I think I was talking to somebody about this today. We here in the Ozarks, because the minnows haven't taken over like they have on other lakes in other areas of the country, where the minnows have just, if you ain't throwing a minnow and shaking it, you don't have a chance. But we're good in there. You still catch them on your jigs and your jerk baits and stuff like that. So as a tackle company owner, it does make it very difficult, because your jigs and your jig trailers and stuff in those areas of the country where the minnows dominate, they don't sell anymore. So it has changed that part of the game for sure.
Man, seriously, we are thankful for you guys jumping in and being a part of that, the Taney 20. It's really cool. So many guys in Moyac have heard from, Chad, from Lance, from, other guys winning a ton of money on, Crock-O-Gator Head Knocker. It's really cool to see you getting involved with them as well on the H2 with the soft plastic sides and doing a lot of stuff for them. So, anytime we can highlight, a local company, we're all about that. So really, really appreciate everything you're doing for the kayak community.
Yeah, right back at you guys. I mean, the support that the kayak community shows Crock-O-Gator, H2, and believe me, it doesn't go unnoticed, and I do appreciate everything. And it is important to support local businesses, like you said, and it does help a lot. So thank you guys.
Well, let's talk about another local business up in Camdenton, Missouri. Eco Fishing Shop is the title sponsor for 2025, which is really cool. Of course, I work for Eco Fishing Shop, but I'm going to act like I work for Moyac right now and turn it over to Travis. And tell us, man. Tell us, Travis, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. We just trying to get some cold weather out of here so we can, get some kayaks picked up. We're starting to backstock them pretty good on builds. That I got this guy that does pretty decent with builds, Jonathan. But no, man, we're we're just kicking right along, man. It's been a great year so far. We had a great year last year, and we're just trying to keep pace. But a lot of builds going on. This is kind of the season. So we're just trying to get some of that stuff caught up and be ready to go for the guys. But I will say, as far as the Taney 20, you know, for Jason and I know Jason's new this year, but, you know, this is not like a big, you know, money maker or even just content provider or any of that. But this tournament is more of a give back for us. I mean, this is, you know, we want to make sure that Moyak is represented. We've been doing it for 3 years, lucky enough to be able to become the title sponsor this year. Stand up group of men and women involved. And so the Taney 20 is just our way of saying thank you for being part of it.
No, for sure. It's exciting being on both sides of it and seeing, I mean, Eco Fishing Shop being in the backyard of Missouri, it lines up perfectly, and excited to do that. And, you know, even if you guys aren't, you know, here in Missouri, like we cater, we service to all those as well, whether, you know, shipping or not, but excited about it, man. So, actually next a week from Saturday, we'll be back here at Eco Fishing Shop for our check-in, and excited to, you know, highlight Eco Fishing Shop, you know, as the title sponsor. Travis, I mean, I know the spiel and whatnot, but like, give us, you know, what can people expect when they come into our shop?
So, you know, it's just me and Jonathan. So if anybody comes in and it's, you know, you're going to talk to me or Jonathan. And, you know, what we're trying to do different is service. You know, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember helping Trey out last year, you know, for our big bass 250.
Remote.
A remote. So I grabbed a remote and programmed it for him, and that way he was good to go. We've had guys that have got up there and forgot batteries. We've had guys on the way to a tournament on the other side of the state that lost their seat out of their kayak, and we'll, you know, pull it off of a brand new kayak and, you know, sell them that one just so they can, you know, fulfill that tournament. But, you know, I feel like in the country, the service side is kind of gone. So we're trying to almost overdo that, where we're really trying to service our customers. Having Jonathan there to do the builds is great. I mean, I'm not trying to talk about him like he's not here, I guess, but he, you know, he's just really good at what he does. And so if you need a boat built, we can do that. If, you know, if you're just looking for a new kayak, Moyak guys, be sure to holler at me or Jonathan. We'll take special care of our Moyak guys. And then also, you know, if anybody's looking to get into something, we do some scratch and dent stuff and some demos. And, you know, we're just trying to figure out how to get people in boats.
How cool is it? So, like, you know, a lot of people work in different fields. Some people are, you know, nurses, doctors. Some people are, you know, go to a factory, and, you know, maybe it's something that they like to do. Maybe it's something they had a passion in doing. But so now you guys, both of you being, you know, really good anglers and love being on the water, just love everything about fishing, but you get to wake up every day, and now your business is in fishing, and your wellness, when we talk about, you know, our coping skills and things like that, that is in fishing also. Can you tell me how you guys balance that? I'm speaking to kind of both of you, Jonathan and you, Travis. How do you balance that, even though it's your profession and it's something that you love?
Well, I can tell you, it's kind of like a mechanic that never gets a chance to work on his car for me. I kayak less now that I'm there than I did before, because I shouldn't say that. I do a lot of demos and a lot of, you know, I get out and do some content videos. So I get on the water, but my personal kayak is the driest kayak in the state, guaranteed, because I don't get a chance. In fact, the last time my kayak was on the water on that service thing I was talking about, last time my kayak was on the water, I loaned it to Stony Floyd, who won $16,000 out of my kayak, and won the Big Bass 250. But no, man, you know, I won't go into real deep on my story, but you know, I was in corporate America for years, started losing vision, now legally blind. I had to find something that I just loved, that I was just passionate about. The building that Eco's in is right next door to the company I used to work for. I was lucky enough to hook up with Caleb Braun and Jared. and open up this shop for them. So I love it. It's been a lifesaver for me. I'm passionate about it because now it's just what I do. So bringing a guy in like Jonathan with the knowledge that he has, because I kayak fished, but I was a Jackson Bight on the river. That's my thing. I wasn't a big lake guy. I'm still not a big lake guy, but being part of it and seeing what it does for other people. I will say we lost a guy that was a veteran, lost him to suicide, and that hit really early on. And he was a guy that we really helped out and got in a kayak, and he tried to do some tournaments and stuff like that. Great guy. That hit me in a certain way that made me realize that every customer, they just don't need a kayak. They're looking for a decompression, and what this sport offers, people.
And people sometimes just want to come in there and just talk about fishing. Maybe they don't even want to buy a kayak. They just want to come in there and look at the cool stuff. You guys got awesome baits. Just to come into the showroom and just look at stuff. My first time in the shop, Jonathan was helping me. I had a Jackson too. And just coming in there is just a cool experience in itself. So, and I always think like you guys have like the best kayaks because like you guys get like all the stuff, right? So Jonathan can be in there just rigging his kayak with like all the like every like just a boss kayak, like everything you would want on a kayak, like you could have it if you were Jonathan, like the Rolls Royce of kayaks. Is that legit? Is that real or is that not real? Is that just my mind?
No, when Sniper Pole is a pretty good example. Sniper Pole came in. That's an awful high price for something like that. But to rationalize it, we put them on our kayaks. And now, in the beginning, I think Jonathan was even a little bit, that's pretty high. That Railblazer one's pretty decent. And he had the other one, I forgot who made it, but then after he put it on his kayak, now he's the best salesman for Sniper in the building because he has so much use of it. So, we do it not just to make them boss, they are, but it's mainly because the best testimonial is from a guy who uses it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing, we did, I guess it's been almost 2 years now, but we took my kayak and Travis's kayak and we took them down to the Big Bass Bash in the spring. And it's just amazing seeing people's reactions. Like some people have zero clue what's going on in the kayak industry. And it's cool. And we've got videos up on our Instagram or YouTube and all that. But just guys are like, oh, this is a kayak? We're like, yeah, it's a kayak. And he's like, that's got more electronics than my bass boat. And we're like, yeah, it's possible. But the other thing too was crazy is they were shocked at like the cost all in for a kayak with electronics, with batteries, with the motor and all this stuff. And just be like, what? I can afford that, compared to some of these $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 boats. So it's really cool seeing people that are not in the kayak side but love fishing and some of those guys could be co-anglers and sick of sitting in the back of the boat fishing tournaments but love fishing tournaments and they can go fish kayaks and run their own rig. So it's really cool to see. It's always growing, changing, but seeing the kayak community grow, it's amazing.
That's a cool point. So if you're a co-angler out there in the bass boat world right now and you're tired of looking at your boat or looking at its screen and you're tired of just getting parallel to the bank, go to Eco Fishing Shop and get a kayak. Become your own captain.
And what we're most excited about too, and this is Jared and Caleb have afforded us this opportunity, but I try not to say, I don't talk about my competition, but man, we're pretty hard to beat. We've got the brands that we have now. When we first started there, we were pretty much Old Town and a couple other brands. We've been there 3 years now. We have Bonafide, Native, Perception, Vibe, Wilderness Systems, Old Town, Hobie, New Canoe, Van Hunks, Feel Free. We there's all of the top brands we have now. So, it's just exciting because we're buying in to the industry as well, as far as not just trying to find the hottest new thing, but making sure we can service everyone. Lance Burris has been a pro staffer of ours since our inception. we did that. Although he was bona fide, we just got bona fide this year, but we supported him until we finally got the line. And now we have, he's in a boat that's from us, which is awesome. And like I said, it was more about just representing the industry to the angler, and the anglers were telling us what they wanted. And then Caleb and Jared are good enough to go get it. So if you need something, want something, give me or Jonathan a shout. We'll help out any way we can. If we don't got it, we'll find it.
Travis, can you give us a little insight on, do you have any special announcements or anything that maybe it's still under the works, but we know that October 25th is quickly approaching, and I'm excited for that. I mean, I think you got people from all across the country excited for that. Can you give us just like a little trailer, just a little snippet?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we had 17 states represented last year. I would tell everyone early that I am pretty confident we're going to max out this year. And if we do, that means people are going to get left behind. If we max out, that means you're going to miss it. So I would say be sure and stay on it. We are a little early on, we always have a giveaway. As far as, last year or 2 years ago, we did, catch boards for the top 100 or the first 100. Last year, we did kayak cushions for the first 100. So I'm sure we're going to do something like that, but we haven't got it all together yet. So
are you excited? It's a lot of work going into that, isn't it?
It is a ton of work. and it's pretty much done by me and Jonathan, top to bottom. I mean, we get the crew that comes down, during the tournament, but yeah, me and Jonathan handle it, from the food to the venues to the, a little bit of everything. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but I tell you what, it is satisfying. It's satisfying. Just the appreciation part of it, which is originally the whole reason we did it. I think what's missing in the kayak world personally, and guys are trying to do better with it, but is the experience. One thing that I've always focused on, and I think this is why Jonathan and I are such a good yin and yang. Jonathan's really focused on the top 20 guys, making sure that they leave there going, holy cow, this was amazing. I'm focused on the bottom 20 guys that maybe didn't even catch a fish, but had the greatest weekend and greatest experience they've ever had, and definitely coming back next year. And so between the two of us, we kind of cover all the bases. And like I said, this tournament is made so that, yes, it's competitive. Yes, we pay some money, but it's the fellowship and the camaraderie and being able to share a meal with like-minded people. That's all of it for us.
Nice.
Jason, I'm sure but we're talking about the Big Bass 250. We put on one tournament one year, kind of like the Big Bass Bash, and we pay out 10 grand for the biggest fish, and then payouts depend on how many people sign up. But it's one of those events where just people just showing up is like, they get there, they're eating food, they're enjoying each other, they're having some drinks, and then we do a bunch of giveaways, we do the awards. It's just a great time. It's I joke around with Travis when he first told me about it. I'm like, dude, you're nuts. You're crazy. But it's really turned into a huge event. And it's crazy to see guys from all over. I mean, not last year, but the year before, we had 22 guys from Nebraska, which I'm sure those guys, it gets colder up there, so they're itching to, be on the water. So it gives them another event to go to. But so excited to do that every year and give back to the kayak community and really celebrate the anglers, what it's really all about. But it's a great time.
Yeah, I had a guy call yesterday from South Dakota that is going to sign up. So yeah, we get them from all over, and we try to really go crazy. And this is where one thing that I work on a lot is the giveaways. Really, if there's 250 people there, and Trey can attest to this, if there is 165 or whatever we had last year, everybody can go home with something. We even go and just make a table at the end where if your name didn't get drawn, just go grab what you want. So we make sure that everybody gets a little something. But that being said, we give away some big stuff. We give away Torquitos and Newports and 7 kayaks last year, 6 or 7. So yeah, the giveaways, we wanted those to be epic. And I think we haven't disappointed every year. And then the money, between all of it, it covers all the bases for everyone. Probably the next step, we'll be getting some vendors involved. And Jason, I'll probably be hitting you up.
And that's one thing that impressed me was how fluid it went. You know, the year before last, yet last year was, you know, it just seems to be getting better and better. So the way that the awards just kind of was fluid and it just moved along for enough guys out there that go to awards or, you know, ceremonies, sometimes they can just be like, okay, like what's going on here? But you guys made it really interactive and you guys just kept it moving. And that was key. And I had assumed that was kind of hard strategically to be able to do. But Jonathan, you did a great job at being able just to keep that thing moving. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I told people this year, I don't care. And I told my buddy Nathan Shaggs, who I don't know if you guys know Shaggs and Trevor from the morning show. He's actually getting married on December 25th and sent a wedding invite to me today. And I was like, man, I can't make it. I even put out a post that said, I'm not, if it's a funeral, it's a wedding. If it's anything other than, you know, my sister or my niece, I'm not going to be able to make it this year. I'm sorry. The Big Bass 250 is just that important to me. And I don't know if that's shallow. I don't know what it is, but you know, you guys, I got to share my story with how much, you know, that event is part of my recovery and something I look forward to in a time that I get to be able, it's not even about fishing for me. It'd be cool to get into a big fish, but that tournament is so much more. We got a whole trail series to worry about points and AOI and all these things. But that tournament, a decompression tournament at the end of the year, gives people the opportunity just to come together. And it's like gym class. It's like recess. It's just fun, dude. It's fun. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And like I said, the flow of the whole thing, Caleb Braun has a lot to do with that. He's pretty meticulous about setting it up. Jonathan and I are the ones that are saying, hey, slow down. Because people are coming up looking for their stuff and we're trying to hit it all out. But no, man, we love the event. We appreciate, you know, everybody being part of it and helping it grow. Kayak Bass Nation last year sponsored an after party. I believe they're going to do it again. We're the title sponsor for Kayak Bass Nation as well. And with our new partnership also with Niska, we're hoping to get a lot more Arkansas guys in because one of the things that I really love about the tournament too is first year Chad Davidson won it, or won Big Bass. Dorman Euclid won first place, but that was Missouri. The next year was Chris Longshore from Nebraska, so that was nice that somebody out of state won it because a lot of times guys don't want to travel a long ways when they think, oh, all these home league guys are going to kill me. Well, last year was Nebraska, or excuse me, 2 years ago Nebraska. Last year was Kansas. So it's, you know, it's anybody's game.
And that's what impressed me too, is about you, Travis, is you had made a comment about how Jonathan kind of takes care of the top guys, but like you're really paying attention to that person that don't even got a motor on their kayak, may just came over, maybe borrowing a kayak, didn't do very well. And that's something that you actually voiced at the 250 of being able to put a spotlight on them people and be like, hey man, we had this guy show up who, you know, let's celebrate this dude. That dude that's out there with just a bag full of baits, and maybe this is his first year kayak fishing. Maybe it's a veteran. Maybe it's, you know, it's somebody with some disabilities. But them are the people that you really try to highlight, and I think that's super special. So,
yeah, that's the future of our industry.
Guys, but seriously, Moyak, from the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you guys to both you guys. Thanks for making some time for us this evening, and being on here, and really appreciate it. Jason, real quick, if guys are looking to order stuff from Crock-O-Gator H2, where do you recommend what do they do to get that from you directly?
H2baitdesign.com is the H2 side, and then Crock-O-GatorBaitCompany.com is the Crock-O-Gator website. Crock-O-Gator, of course, is in the Fitz Fishing, Ozark Bait and Tackle, and that up around Lake of the Ozarks. And wasn't it one on the quarter-ounce head knocker last year?
It was.
I know Chad won.
Yeah.
Last year was Stoney. Yeah, Stoney threw that buzz bait.
Yeah.
It was a white one. Yeah, we'll give up
that's right.
Yeah, Stoney, we're putting it out there.
Yeah, so maybe we need to get some quarter-ounce head knockers up there to hand out.
Oh,
there you go. Well, that's two out of 3 years. Crock-O-Gator's been the winning bait.
Yeah, it's it is one of those baits that catches big fish, and I think Stoney had it right. He was just put it in his hand and throw it all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, either of those websites, just get on there and order what you need. And like I said, I'm excited about working with everybody and look for stuff coming down the road from Crock-O-Gator as well and H2. So.
Yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure that we've got a discount code too that you should be able to find on our Facebook page. It might be in that members only lounge, but so you can actually get a discount from them as well, which they're offering. Travis, man, where do guys find us at Eco Fishing Shop?
All right, so if you can get to the shop, I highly recommend it. It's one of the biggest kayak shops in the country, fishing kayak only. Would love to have anybody and everybody come to 1479 South Business Route 5 in Camdenton, Missouri. That's where our actual storefront is. But if you're beyond that and you want to go online, you can do ecofishingshop.com or just reach out to Jonathan or myself, and we'll take care of you.
You should have been a radio DJ, Travis. You got that good voice, bro.
No, he's got a face for radio is what the issue is.
Got a face.
Yeah.
Jason, I'm not going to give you a hard time. Don't worry, man. I'm not going to give you a hard time.
Okay.
Travis, I'll give him the third. But seriously, guys, thanks again for being on here. Really appreciate it. Headed to Lake of the Ozarks March 15th for the first stop on the Elite Series for Moyak Fishing. Again, our check-in will be here at Eco Fishing Shop. Guys, if you guys are coming down that week and needing to pick up anything, call us and give us a heads up. We've got tons of stuff here at the storefront, but if we don't have that here at the storefront, we can easily get it from our warehouse shipped up to you guys here at the storefront. You can pick it up here. So just kind of keep that in mind. We should have, just about anything you're looking for, but if for some reason we don't have it, call ahead, and that way we make sure you can get it in your hands before that tournament. If you are one of those guys that wait till Friday, you might be out of luck. So be ahead of the game. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for being on here. Anything else from you guys?
Nope. Just thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to the 3 winners. Tanny Como, we got Zachary Wolverton, we got Micah Funderburg, and of course Chad Davison. You guys were just down there and just figured it out when really nobody else could figure it out. So congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to those guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. Always going to support Moyak and the guys that support us. So we appreciate everything that you guys do, and appreciate the partnership.
Guys, thank you so much. We are out.